Yeah, I think so. Hello, you are listening to or watching What's the Tea? My name is Lydia.
My name is Andy.
And we're basically two former support workers that are, here to talk about how to navigate life, adulting, but we're not experts.
No.
However, during our time as a support worker, we actually gave some good advice, which has surprised us.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd try a podcast. I say try. We're season 2 in.
Yeah. I mean,
but we're still trying.
This is what, episode 10-ish?
Overall,
yeah.
Yeah.
So therefore, if this sounds rubbish, it's still early days. I mean,
hey, speak for yourself. I sound great. Oh, you meant the podcast overall, right?
So how this generally works is that we normally have some sort of kind of topic that we'll definitely get to in a moment. We definitely have weird news coming up.
Oh, I love weird news.
But first things first, how are you? How's your week?
Well, last week, I felt went really slow for me.
Okay.
And I woke up today thinking, I went to bed yesterday thinking today was Wednesday.
Yeah. It's Tuesday today, right?
Yeah.
I know we normally record on a Wednesday.
Yeah, it might be it. It's your fault. Don't blame me.
I mean, I'm fairly certain there was a reason why I booked us in for today.
I think it was because we've got a team lunch tomorrow, but also it gives you less time to edit because someone's going on holiday, but so am I actually, so I can't be annoyed at that.
Yeah. That sounds like a perfectly sensible explanation, which does not sound like me at all whatsoever.
You do have
boss.
You do have some sensibility. Is that even the right phrase? You are sensible at sometimes. You have some sensibility.
Welcome to a podcast where we make up words. I don't know, actually.
I did that last time.
Make up words?
But yeah. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm all right. Did a bit of recording earlier for World Internet Safety Day.
Ooh.
All around kind of spotting scams and keeping ourselves safe online.
Oh, nice.
So by the time this podcast has gone out, that will have gone live probably today.
Is that for internal or is that for external?
No, that's external.
Ooh.
So look out for that on at YMCA Exeter.
Oh, it's going to go on our Insta page.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Make sure to watch that one. Give you some love. It
involves a lot of coffee making.
Okay,
and
that sounds about right for you.
Coffee drinking at the end.
Also, just to know, Andy has informed me before we started filming this podcast that he's had a really large cup of strong coffee.
It was very much related to said recording.
Yeah, and which means that Andy's going to be full with beans at the start, but if he starts crashing towards the end, I'm going to have to save the day. But we've done that before where I've crashed, so...
No comments. No comment at all whatsoever. Today, we're talking imposter syndrome, aren't we?
Imposter syndrome, yes.
And the reason why we're talking about it is basically because we talked about it ourselves about 4 weeks ago, give or take.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it in one of the episodes.
I think it was literally just before
we
hit record.
Maybe.
And we were like, we should probably do this in 1 week, because we were both like giving each other some sort of therapy, counselling thing about this.
Oh, I remember the conversation now. I was just going along like, yeah, of course we talked about it.
Yeah.
And now I remember the exact conversation.
Yeah, you see, we had a conversation. We talked about how we needed to do it. I went away, wrote down, plan when we were going to do it. Yeah.
It was me. I said that I have imposter syndrome. So before we go into that, I'm happy to say that I suffer with imposter syndrome. What do we mean by imposter syndrome, Andy?
Well, this is where I confess and talk about using ChatGPT.
We're not sponsored by ChatGPT. There are other AI platforms out there.
Indeed. So if you've got any arguments, and I personally do have some arguments with some of the stuff here, please direct it towards AI. According to ChatGPT, imposter syndrome is when you doubt your own abilities and feel like a fraud, even when you have evidence that you're skilled or competent. It's common among young adults, especially when starting a new job, course, or role where you feel like you don't belong or aren't good enough.
I don't agree with all of that. I
I'm not
agree
sure
with
if I
parts of
agree
it.
with all that.
Yeah.
Which bit don't you agree with?
I don't agree that it happened. It's common among young adults. I think it's
that's also the bit.
I think it's we're more aware of it as young adults compared to our my parents' generation and generation before that. And I think that's due to obviously social media and other things. But there are really well-known celebrities that have talked openly about feeling like they've got imposter syndrome.
Okay.
So you've got Robert Pattinson, so he was in Harry Potter,
Batman himself.
Batman, Twilight.
Bruce Wayne has imposter syndrome.
I know, right? You've also got Emma Watson, who played Hermione from Harry Potter. She was in the biggest franchise there ever is. And she has spoken about having imposter syndrome. You've got Meryl Streep, so she's been in loads of movies, Mamma Mia being, She's
been in movies since before I was born.
Exactly, yeah.
I think.
Oh, wow, one way to call
Possibly.
her old. So she's talked about suffering with imposter syndrome. And Penelope Cruz is another person. So big celebrities that everyone kind of knows has spoken openly about feeling imposter syndrome. Now, Emma Watson is probably quite young with Robert Pattinson, but Meryl Streep being very much of the older generation, she is the GOAT, the greatest of all time. So I don't think it is common among young people. I think we're just more aware of it and use the term more freely. I say we because I like to consider myself a young person. We use it more freely. But I think imposter syndrome's always been around where people have not felt good enough in the role that they're in or the life that they're living.
And that's it, isn't it? It's that moment when you go, what am I doing? Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
What shouldn't I just be doing this thing where I'm very comfortable?
Yeah.
Find ridiculously easy. I don't deserve whatever.
Yeah.
All those sorts of feelings.
Yeah. I said, I was talking about me suffering with imposter syndrome. I think it can be linked to lack of self-confidence and self-esteem, definitely. But also whenever I have, so as part of any kind of job role, you have kind of supervisions or you have kind of your quarterly reviews with your line manager where they talk about how you're doing with your role, what you think's going well, bad, all of that jazz. And I always struggle in those meetings. Sorry, I just had a hiccup then. Because I'm I don't think I'm that good. I'm obviously not bad because otherwise I'd be fired. But I don't think I'm good enough to be saying all of this stuff, but also for you to say all this good stuff about me. And, if there was when I've had promotions throughout the Y, again, of being oh, I don't know.
Wait,
what? Yeah. I don't think that's for me. I don't think I'll be good enough. And they're but you're already kind of doing some of the responsibilities. It just comes with a job role. And I'm so I frequently suffer with imposter syndrome, but I think that's more linked to a lack of self-confidence and self-esteem that I think many people struggle with. And again, social media doesn't help.
So if you're watching us on YouTube, you may have spotted me smiling at various points during that. And that was very much two different reasons. One, I very much agree and very much kind of relate to what you're saying. There's been points where I've been no, don't talk to me about this. No. Let's get someone else in to do this thing. I'm so yeah, completely there. But also, I was looking at my little set of notes here. Particularly the signs of imposter syndrome. And there's one here saying, struggling to accept praise or positive feedback.
Oh, that is me in a nutshell. I hate it. Now, actually, interestingly, we were talking about praise in the office today, in the front office where I work. And there's two types of praise. There's generic praise and specific praise. Now, I hate praise as general, but I prefer specific praise over generic praise. So generic praise is where someone comes in and you're doing a great job. Oh, great job. You're great at what you do. Specific praise is more what you did in that project where you did this and this. Great stuff. Keep it up. So you're being more specific around the praise of what you're giving to that person. I prefer specific praise. I feel generic, general praise, I'm what's the point? Some people prefer that. That being said, I hate praise as general. It's just like, oh, I'm like, am I? I probably take praise better from my young people than I do my staff.
Yeah.
Because I feel like our young people that we work with, you know, they know a good thing when they see it. And if it's bad, they will tell you. So I'm like, if they're praising me, I'll believe it a little bit more. That's just me.
Yeah. I'm not sure what else I can say there apart from yeah.
Also, were you laughing as well at my speech because you've heard it so many times from me before of being like, I'm not good enough? And that's what I thought you were laughing at and smiling at. It was just being like, oh yeah, I've heard this many times from Lydia.
No, not at all. It was very much I totally get that.
Yeah.
I totally feel that.
Because I have had this conversation with Andy many times over the 8 years I've been working for YMCA.
Oh, what about how you don't like accepting praise?
Accepting praise, but also I'm always like, I don't understand, Andy. I'm just like, it's not good enough, or I'm not good enough. And yeah, Andy has been my support worker several times.
And I often tell you to be quiet.
Yeah.
And just accept it. Okay, so we kind of talked a lot about what it is, how it feels. And I think it's also important to kind of note that it's not about having a job.
No.
Having a job is the easy example.
Exactly, yeah.
But it can impact you in maybe starting a hobby. If there's a thing you want to do, I mean, launching a YouTube channel could be one. It could be moving into your own place.
Yeah.
That can very easily lead to feelings of, what am I doing here? I don't know what I'm doing.
Could be also linked to a relationship. You can have imposter syndrome within a relationship. Like, I don't deserve this person. Like, why is this person with me? I'm not, you know, all of those kind of things. Yeah. So, yeah.
So, all those sorts of areas, I guess it's more important to listen to what we're talking about in regards to the feelings rather than the example of where you might be. Yeah. Because there's no kind of limit on that. No. There's no limit on your on where you could be to feel this way. No,
100%. Should we list the signs of imposter syndrome? Because we covered like a few of them in the talk, but we've not actually specifically said there's signs of imposter syndrome.
Go for it.
So feeling like you're not as competent as others think you are. Feel that one frequently.
Yeah, totally.
Downplaying achievements, thinking they're just luck or timing. Done that a few times.
Oh, it's all down to good luck, timing.
Yeah, right place, right time, guys. Yeah. Fear of being found out as a fraud. And struggling to accept praise or positive feedback. We talked about that. Yep. Comparing yourself to others and feeling inadequate. Do that. I do all of those frequently. I really feel like this is an episode of therapy for me. So thanks, guys, for attending my therapy session.
No comment.
So I think it's good though.
We knew this was a risk.
But I think it's good though, because I think, you know, this is something that I think a lot of people feel, but don't have the vocabulary or the understanding of what it is that they're feeling. But I think it's also good, like when celebrities, or I'm not equivalent, bear with me when I say this, because I'm not saying we're celebrities, but when celebrities talk out about
you're
it.
A celebrity.
I'm not a celebrity.
We. Okay.
I'm not a celebrity. Oh, you think you're a celebrity?
No,
okay.
no, neither of us are.
Okay. Just clarify. Cool. None of us are celebrities. But I think it's good when celebrities or role models, again, I'm not saying we're either, talk about it. But I also think it helps, like, you know, we've been part of some of the guys that are listening's lives where, you know, we've either been their support worker or, you know, we've been around in their journey at the YMCA. So I think it's helpful that they're like, oh, they're normal human beings. They feel these things too. So I think it's good that we're talking about it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I think what you said about giving language to it as well, that is important, because it's very easy to feel something but not have the language to explain it. Yeah.
So why do you think imposter syndrome happens, Andy?
I mean, I know you're going through the script. I think
it's not a script, okay? Just to clarify, we don't script this. This is very off the cuff, but we have notes.
Very ordered notes at times. I think at the risk of kind of...
Also, sorry, I'm going to interrupt you. Why did you call me out that way? That was a really good segue. And you just called me out.
It's mostly because I think we've kind of talked a lot about why it happens and the situations it could be. But just to sum it up...
No, we haven't.
New responsibilities.
Yeah, we talked about that one. We haven't talked about the other two in detail.
Oh, right, okay, that's true.
Yeah.
Perfectionism.
Exactly.
Perfectionism.
Sorry,
On that
Andy.
note-
Hang on a minute.
on
You
that
just
note,
called me out.
On that note, perfectionism. That's interesting. Perfectionism. So expecting yourself to be flawless,
Yeah.
even if you make little mistakes, can make you feel like you're not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I kind of struggle a little bit with that kind of way of thinking, because I think that's more kind of confidence.
Yeah, but I think also, again, that
But
links
it could
to...
feed, but admittedly could feed into.
Yeah, I think it links to the second point, though, which is comparison, because social media and seeing others succeed make us feel behind, have different opportunities and experiences. And I think we are naturally, as a species, human beings, we naturally compare ourselves to other people. I think even before social media, you speak to my parents or grandparents, they would have said at some point in their lives they compared themselves to their siblings or their friends. So I think we've always done comparison. I think it's just more now in our face because of social media.
So you're suggesting that the comparison could feed into
To
this
the
feeling of, oh my days,
perfectionism.
what am I doing
Yeah,
here?
like so Jeremy is my line manager at the YMCA. He's been around a really long time. Hi, Jeremy. He's been around a really long time. And I remember when I took the warden role from him. So I live on site. I'm the warden, for anyone that doesn't know that. Jeremy was that before me when I moved in. And when I moved in, I constantly was like, oh, you know, Jeremy was able to do this. Jeremy didn't have any of these feelings. I'm not able to do this. All of that jazz. And Jeremy sat me down and was just like, I had all of these feelings too. And I'm like, you had these feelings? You're perfect. Like, this might feed into his ego, so I need to be careful. But I had this vision of, you know, because Jeremy was my line manager. I respect him so much. I look up to him. And I was just like, he's this, you know, and I was comparing myself to him. I know he's not a perfect individual. I've got to know him very well. But in that mindset, that's how I felt. And therefore, by comparing myself, it fed with Jeremy, it fed this kind of perfectionism in me of being like, he's a flawless individual. Therefore, I need to be flawless, but I'm not. So therefore, I'm a fraud and I shouldn't be here.
So because you're comparing yourself to this other person, you're there going, actually, what am I doing here?
Exactly, yeah.
I'm not as good as this other person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jeremy does have flaws, just putting that out there, and he would be the first one to say it.
Hi, Jeremy.
Hi, Jeremy. Just got to make sure that ego's intact.
So how to deal with it? So we talked about imposter syndrome.
Yes.
How do you deal with imposter syndrome? I'm getting in there first.
Following the script, Andy.
Yeah, totally.
Sorry, just, you know, annoying you there by calling you out. I think the first step is
I'm okay with it.
I think the first is talking about it, having the vocabulary to highlight what it is. You know, so it being like, yeah, I feel like I've got imposter syndrome. I don't feel like I should be where I am or whatever. And I think it's good to talk about your feelings anyway. I think we live in a society, it's a very British culture, isn't it? Stiff upper lip, where we don't really talk about things and we don't vocalize our feelings. So I think that's one of the ways to deal with it, is to talk about it openly, so other people can be like, that's your feelings, that's not facts. And I love that phrase. It's something that we use frequently as a support worker, is when someone's saying, oh, I'm rubbish, this is rubbish, life's falling apart. It's like, okay, let's divide the feelings between the facts here. You feel this. Where's the facts to say that that's true? Oh, I can't find any. Okay, where's the facts to say the opposite is true? Oh, there's loads. So divide, and it's similar to kind of cognitive behavioral therapy. They use similar technique, but it's like finding the evidence to support the feeling. If you can't find any, then it's a feeling, it's not fact, and find the evidence for the opposite.
Amazing. I like the next one here, which is to keep a wins list.
Oh, yes.
So to write down kind of achievements, positive feedback, and moments where you kind of done something great. And I think just writing that down is, as an action in itself,
100%.
is like you telling yourself, this is what other people have either seen or commented on, or even better, this is what I've done.
Yeah. So someone spoke to me about this recently, actually. They were like, why don't you get all of your old supervision notes from your boss of all the things that he says that you're good at? So then you've got a list. because it was relevant to something else that we were talking about. And I was like, I've never thought about doing that. But it's basically creating a wins list that someone else has fed into me. So if you can't think of a wins list yourself, think of like you said, what other people have said about us. Or if it's to do with a role, use supervision notes. So yeah, no, I like that one. It's a good one because I think we sometimes forget the small wins and the wins in general. We always focus on the negative, don't we, immediately. We kind of talked about that one. And accept that, I guess it's acceptance. It's like the 5 stages of grief, isn't it? Acceptance is that with growth comes discomfort. If everything was easy and we didn't have that feeling of discomfort, nothing would change. We wouldn't move forward. We wouldn't move up. Like, you know, think about a lot of our young people that we support. They have loads of discomfort whilst they're growing and becoming independent. And that is just life. And I think we sometimes forget that. And we just need to accept it, embrace it. And just be like, okay, I'm feeling, and be kind to ourselves and being like, okay, I feel this and that's okay that I feel this. Let's not beat myself up about it.
In fact, if you're listening to this now, jump onto Google and search, I think it's Stephen Bartlett, Imposter Syndrome. And he talks exactly about that. He's the guy from
Dragon's Den,
Diary of
a CEO. Yeah, that's his podcast.
Things like that. And he's got a few massive businesses as well.
Yeah. It's a good podcast. He's had some really exceptional guest speakers on there talking about all sorts of things. So definitely worth giving it a go and having a look at it.
Challenge negative thoughts would be another one. Would be another thing. So if you're there thinking to yourself, I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't be here doing that, I don't deserve this, challenge that. Ask yourself, what evidence is there that I'm not capable of doing this? What evidence is there that I shouldn't be here? And try and work out what evidence there is to kind of back up what it is you are feeling. Yeah,
that facts and feelings again, isn't it? Stop comparing your behind the scenes with others' highlights. So I am terrible at comparing myself to others. I've got better as I've got older, but yeah, I still really struggle with it. There was a talk that someone sent to me, I can't remember the name, but it was a really good talk about comparison. It's like run your own race. Because if you're running a race, if you start looking at the other runner, you go off course. Yeah. You start running into their lane. And it's like, actually, by comparing yourself to others, you're losing focus of what's ahead and what your journey is. And for me, that really helps. When I find myself comparing myself to others, I go, no, Lydia, you need to run your own race. You're losing focus. Come on. But also, people's highlights that we see is only a snippet of their lives. You know, especially with social media, it's 5 seconds or 10 seconds on a video, or it's a photo of the happiest time of their lives. Like, rarely anyone posts anything on their stories or their news feeds or whatever you call it when life's bad. Yeah.
Or even just life just being
boring and mundane.
And it's always the nice trips. It's always the smiling photos.
No one's posting like, I did the dishes today, woo, or I showered today, woo.
When in actual fact, those are the wins that.
Exactly.
Sometimes.
And also, if we're talking about relationships, but also jobs, it's again only a snippet that you're seeing. So it's like, you're not seeing the difficulties that they have within a relationship, but they're also not seeing the hoops they've had to jump through to get a specific role or job, or the peaks and troughs of life. It's just always the successful moments that they're sharing. Doesn't mean it's easy, and it doesn't mean that they're better than you.
And finally, remind yourself, no one knows everything.
No, they do not.
Not even your line manager, Lydia.
Oh, I know that now.
Even the experts are still learning.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I think, world's changing, things, even it was interesting because, again, having a conversation with someone, and they were like, even physicists, like really top physicists in their field, still are unlearning stuff that they've learned or learning new stuff because, there's a whole world out there that we still don't fully understand about. And that's okay.
Now, moving on swiftly to talking about eggs, the price of eggs. Okay. In weird news.
Okay, that's got nothing to do with imposter syndrome. Everyone's going to be like, what's eggs got to do with imposter syndrome?
Swiftly.
We need our jingle. Weird news. Weird news. That was my attempt at a jingle. Never again. Oh my goodness, can't believe I did that.
A little bit of me is tempted to clip that.
Oh
and use
no!
that as the jingle.
That should be a ringtone every time we call. Weird news.
Don't tempt me. So, shall I go first? Because I think yours is awesome.
Yeah, go for it.
Last week we talked about tomatoes. The week before that we talked about bananas. This week we're going to talk about eggs.
And we talked about bananas twice, actually. So we've talked about bananas twice and tomatoes.
Oh yeah, we have talked about.
Yeah.
I was tempted to talk about bananas the third time, but anyway. So
Eggs.
we're going to talk about eggs this week.
We've talked about an egg before,
Oh yeah, we might have talked about eggs last time. Actually.
where they found a perfectly round egg.
That's true. But this time it's
It's always you. Sorry. Oh no, I brought the tomatoes last time. I was going to say it was always you
it's
bringing
not
the food.
always
But
me bringing
I've
the
brought
food
one out of the
news.
many. But yeah, carry on.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm doing a you, interrupting you.
I know, right? As that.
How do you like it? Do you like the taste of your own medicine, Andy?
It's quite good fun actually. Thank you very much. It brings to life. Super dynamic.
Darn it! I was hoping you'd get annoyed and you'd stop doing it in the future.
So there's been a heist in America.
A heist.
A heist.
So a robbery.
Massive robbery.
Right.
Of 100,000 eggs have been stolen from the back of a trailer. It's become a whodunit that police have yet to crack.
That's excellent.
4 days after the theft that law enforcement say that could be tied to the sky-high cost of eggs in America, no leads have come in. They are relying on leads from people in the community, so they're hoping that somebody knows something and they'll call us and the police and give us some tips. According to the police spokesman, in my career, I've never heard of 100,000 eggs being stolen. This is definitely unique, said the police spokesman, who has 12 years on the job. So that's 100,000 eggs have been stolen from the back of his trailer. The cops have nothing to go on.
So
And
they
I
must be trying to hatch a plan.
That's impressive. But I wonder, so I did a little bit of research, a little bit of prep, and when we talk about the cost of eggs, now they had a picture of a dozen eggs with what I presume was the price. It's basically like just over £5 for a dozen eggs.
Wow.
Which I feel is a lot.
Yeah. That's scrambled my brain.
We'll give a moment for Lydia to laugh at her joke.
I actually googled egg puns. Oh.
Do you need me to do your piece?
Oh, sorry, I'm just yoking around. Oh, sorry guys. Sorry, call it shell shock from the news.
For the benefit of audio listeners, I'm just looking at Lydia with an intentional look of disbelief and pride.
Oh gosh, that's it for today. Yikes. That's the last one. They were good though. They were good.
Do you need me to do your piece?
No, it's fine.
Or have you
Oh
cracked?
gosh, those egg jokes, guys. Whew. They were cracking.
Yeah, that's it. Lydia's definitely cracked. She's gone.
Oh gosh, I was just subtly trying to bring them in, and then you caught on so quickly. So my weird news article is not got anything to do with eggs.
Thank goodness.
So guys,
It's possibly more scary.
breaking news: China is going to host the world's first half marathon race.
Mm-hmm.
The lights just flickered, sorry. Even the lights aren't impressed with my jokes. China to host the world's first half marathon race between humans and robots. Yes, guys,
Okay.
you've heard it here. It is robots. So dozens of humanoid robots are expected to compete against around 12,000 humans in the 21-kilometer race in Beijing in April. So that's about 13 miles. What I'm a little bit confused about is prizes will be awarded to the top runners. Now, if a robot's won, what are they going to get? An Amazon voucher to get new parts? Like
Freedom?
freedom. I'm just a bit concerned it's going to turn into the movie I, Robot. The robots must be between
Worse.
0.5 meters and 2 meters tall and have a maximum extension distance from the hip joint to the sole of the feet of at least 0.45 meters. So there's requirements.
Okay.
Yeah, so there it is. It's
they
the
must
first.
resemble humans.
They must resemble humans. Yeah, they're humanoid robots.
So is this the start of the Terminator?
Well,
do you
this.
reckon?
I'm sorry. I was just reading
So
further on.
particularly TT with these.
Yeah, so both remote controlled and fully autonomous robots will be allowed to participate.
Yeah.
So what if the robots go rogue, guys?
What if it just breaks free of its programming and starts just running?
Yeah. Do you know what though? I would, I'm not a runner, as you can probably tell. But if a robot was chasing me because it had gone rogue, darn straight I'm going to be running to the end of that finishing line to get out free from it.
So, on that note, don't have nightmares.
But yeah, interestingly though, that is is that how marathons are going to be now?
Human v robot.
Yeah.
A taste of the future, perhaps.
Yeah.
We really should.
Yeah, sorry,
wrap this up.
This lasted a bit longer, and that was my fault because of my excellent jokes.
Thank you for listening. Please feel free to get in touch if you have any stories or any questions around kind of social contact, social kind of just how to navigate this world. Also get in touch if you've got any hints or tips or life hacks that you'd like to share with a wider audience. You can find us on all good podcast platforms. Until next time, take care now. Goodbye.
See you later, yokes.